Hello.
Hey, there you go. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
So far so good. Can't complain. Did you get done making food for your kids?
Yep, I got dinner done. They're upstairs.
How many kids do you have?
I have three kids.
Wow, three kids. That's quite a handful.
They're
Boys?
under 10. I have three girls. They're 9, 6, and 4.
Oh, three girls. That's a lot of estrogen in the house.
The 9-year-old is turning the corner
Oh yeah.
into teenager land.
I'm trying to remember what my teenage years were like. I don't think my parents were like too pleased with those years.
Let me put less
Yeah,
light in
no
the back.
worries. You're good. You're good. So how's the whole Corona situation going with you?
For me, I can't complain because um, being that I have three kids, I'm sort of based at home a lot anyways.
Hmm.
And with online coaching, I'm already working online and working from home. So I've been staying really busy, and I'm fortunate that I have a home gym and a lot, in room here. So we're doing okay. I think my kids are starting to lose it a little bit.
Oh yeah. So they're completely like out of school, right now, or are they doing online courses?
They are doing their online stuff with school,
Hmm.
and I also teach.
Okay.
That I teach third grade also.
So your life is like revolves around children, no matter where you turn.
So we have to use lots of patience and lots of humor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
do your children like are they so you teach third grade. So what are the grades of your kids? What
My oldest is in third grade also.
Okay, so are you teaching your kid? Are you guys in the
I
same
am
school?
supplementing because she doesn't know. I know where she should be, and she's not where she should be with math. So I'm making her do some of the stuff I
Hmm.
do.
Hmm. So
But I
uh-huh.
am balancing it. I'm not going crazy with them. I don't want them on the computer 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what's kind of tough, right? Because this whole Corona thing has kind of like moved everybody to electronical like versions of everything. So now it's like people are saying,
it's a
"Oh,
lot.
yeah, kids are supposed to be outside and all that." And it's like, well, now like if they want to learn, the only way they're learning is through like the internet. So,
Well, here's the thing. Kids need to be reading great books. They need to be having conversations about those books with their families. Even
mhm,
the simplest retelling of a story or discussing a character is so important. And that's the stuff that we're doing that they're missing in class. And,
yeah.
as far as the online programs, they need to do it, but not so much, I feel like. And they need to be writing, having, keeping a journal about this time. Can you imagine in
Yeah.
20 years having this journal about this time and writing it every day and having that? So
Oh yeah.
that's what I encourage, and just balancing it to a few hours. And it's more about practicing what they already know rather than teaching a whole bunch of new stuff right now,
Hmm.
because that's too much. Like, I'm trying to work, my husband works from home, who's teaching. My kids have three different curriculums.
Right.
Very challenging.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure. I'm sure they're super excited about that.
they're slippery. They're like on YouTube. You say do your lessons and then they're on YouTube. So it's, just checking in with them. But I say get up, get your, clean your room, get dressed, get your stuff done, and then if you finish, go ahead and play the rest of
Hmm.
the day. So
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned as far as like having a journal, like 20 years from now, having a journal from this time, because my wife and I were talking earlier and we're like, this is like, this is like a point in time where like things are pre and post. Like, so people would
right,
be saying pre-corona, post-corona stuff, like
right.
things have changed. It's kind of like, pre-World War I, post-World War I, like the world has like changed completely, the way people function with each other, and the way we move as a society has completely changed because of this.
I think that's going to continue for a while.
Hmm.
And, you know, same with fitness. So I
Hmm.
think it's been interesting just seeing how people and how I responded at first. And there's this like depression and
Hmm.
this lethargy that comes over you when you're just home all the time. And then for myself, I finally feel like I'm getting my intensity back, if that makes
Right.
sense,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? So it's taken all this time, but I think really hearing on the news that this is not going away,
Hmm.
it's like we have to work with what we have, and we can't just keep sitting around and waiting for it to be over, because it's not going to be so easy.
Sure. So it kind of brings me to this question for you. Like, what do you think about the, well, so let me ask you this first. Where are you located at?
I'm in the Bay Area near San Francisco,
Okay. So
California.
yeah, so I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and they're,
I've never been.
yes, you come, but not now because everything's closed. But but once they start, my question is actually regarding to this. So they're starting to phase everything back in, like, and I'm assuming the same thing's happening,
Well, it's
there.
funny that you say that, because one of my gym buddies I saw on Facebook, he is in Tennessee. I think he's in Nashville, and he was at a gym, and then he was at like a Denny's or something. Is that stuff
Interest
open?
shouldn't be. I mean,
It
they're
was like
takeout.
today.
Huh. So here's the thing. So if it's today, I was talking to Nina. She's a bikini competitor, and she was telling me that today they're reopening a lot of places. She's in Knoxville, Tennessee, and today they were phasing a lot of stuff. Like, this is the first day of things reopening. So like phase
Maybe he's
one.
there.
So it's possible that it could be happening, either he's there or he's here and it's happening. I just don't know about it, But they did say that this is the time for them to like start that process. So what do you think about that? That was my question. Like, do you think it's a good idea, bad idea?
I think essentials, I probably wouldn't be stepping foot into a gym quite yet. It's just for some people that if you don't have any equipment and your mental state, that might be essential for you. So I kind of feel like everyone has to make that choice for
Hmm.
themselves. It depends, if you have people at risk that you're around ever, like
Yeah,
that. Like I have parents that I bring groceries to, so I have to be really careful.
yeah, yeah.
Because if it were to get to them, that they would not be okay. Like I have a much stronger immune system, and my kids are healthy, so I don't worry too much about us. But I just think
Hmm.
um, we need to be careful about. We can't just say we're sick of this and we're just going to go back
Right, right.
to going out. I think it just has to be one step at a time.
Yeah, you think it's being rushed a little bit because of the economy?
Yes, and not to say that's not needed.
Right.
It's nothing is black and white, and it's people need to work.
Right, right.
So
Yeah. See, I think that's some of the problem comes into play is when people don't listen. That's the thing. It's like people are notoriously like just bad at following directions.
tell
And
me about it.
it's so right. And these are adults too, not kids. So that
Tell
they're
me about it, my
adults.
online clients.
Oh, there you go. So you already know. But like I went to the store like before we got on. I went to Publix. My wife is going to make some tacos and stuff, and so many people I see without masks. Now they've already come out and said like you need to wear masks. That's it's a must now. Like so, and it's like there's so many people without masks, so many people not following social distancing. And my concern is that they're gonna like start reopening things, and they're gonna say, okay, well we still need to keep things like very regimented and social distance. So and because people aren't gonna care just like they don't really care now, it's gonna like spike. That's my concern. I'm not
Right.
sure.
And it's the social gatherings.
Hmm. Right.
A lot of you see people over with like all their extended family is having a party, and they're still hanging out, and people ask me all the time if they can come work out in my house, and I'm like, no, I can't try that right now
Yeah, sorry.
until
Yeah.
calm down. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
bad, but it's really important, because it's just selfish to think of it as doesn't apply to me, it will be fine.
Sure, sure. Well,
you know
everybody says that until it happens, right? Like that's the thing, right? Like you're okay until it happens, and then you're not okay anymore. So it's I even get that feeling too. It's like since Corona's been around, I haven't gotten sick. So in my mind, even though I know it's serious, I'm kind of like like I'm fine. But then I have to step back and be like, no, tomorrow I could get it. So it's
I am not good with wiping everything that I buy down, or like containers and stuff. Like, so, and I know that about myself. So I prefer I just try to keep it simple. And I go shopping once a week, and then I drop things off for my parents so they don't leave. And that's all I've been going.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, because now that it's going on for so long, I don't know how long we can all keep that up.
Sure. No, I get it. You're such a nice daughter too, that dropping food up for your parents and things like that.
You have to do that for people. Somebody just dropped from the grocery store off. Somebody just delivered food to a porch that I did not order. And so I went on to the Nextdoor app, that, neighborhood app.
Yeah.
And I found the owners of the food, and they came and got it.
Wow. That's a lot of people would have just took it.
No, I'm on a strict diet, so
that's why I didn't. Didn't have anything to do with honesty.
No, of course. I'm all about helping people.
Sure.
And I want people to feel good, and it's such a critical time.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So how did you get into teaching? Like, is that something you've always wanted to do, or?
Well, when I was in college, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know what to do. So I ended up doing psychology, and then I became a nanny, and I nannied for that family for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents were lawyers. So I did everything. I cooked dinner for their family. I did all their errands. I got the kids all the way ready for bed. And I would always pick them up from school. And I figured, you know what? Teaching looks pretty good. I could do that, because I remember the little boy was in kindergarten. I thought it looked no big deal.
Right.
So I went back to school for that. And then I've been teaching for almost 10 years now. And I started pretty much right when I had my first baby. And that's just what I know, is working with kids. And then that kind of transitioned into coaching and working with adults. But it's funny, because there's a lot of overlap in the underlying principles. And just as far as organization, working with a lot of people, having interpersonal skills, adjusting things to each person's level to match the right they call it zone of development. So it's a little bit challenging, but not so much. And then a lot of growth mindset stuff kind of overlaps. So that's really my philosophy, and just like how we can train our minds to get out there and be brave and take risks, with whether it's in the classroom, because the kids really need that, or it's with my clients who need to take that risk too, because everyone needs that kind of encouragement and that support, I think, to make real progress.
Yeah. So how did you get into fitness then? So is that like a lifelong endeavor? Like, are your parents into fitness?
It's been a love of mine. I think it was a breakup, and on my website, I think I talk about this story. It was around 2002 or so. I was like 19 years old. I had this breakup, and I was feeling so sad. And my grandma had just purchased my mom and myself a gym membership. So I used that gym membership to kind of get through that breakup, and I fell in love with it. And I never got real serious with it, like competing or heavy lifting. I was kind of like doing the 10-pound dumbbells and doing my cardio. And that went on for a long time, like 10 years, I would say. So I'm 37 now. So it's been almost 20 years that I've been regularly going to the gym, but I never got really good results until about 4 years ago, when I started doing more research. This was after my last child. I was so sick of yo-yo dieting and I would spend tons of hours in the gym and try all these diets, but nothing was really working.
Yeah.
And I would kind of be like that. I would lose the weight, but not have real muscle or real definition. So after my last baby, I started learning about nutrition, macros, tracking things, kind of learning about how food affects your body, portioning, all of that stuff. And then so many people kept asking me what I was doing that I started to write it all down. And then I decided to get my nutrition specialist cert, so that, because I feel like if you're going to be giving advice to people, you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea.
What
are you certified?
I have the Nasm fitness nutrition specialist cert, and then I also have the Nasm personal trainer certification.
That's the best one to get. I remember when I was thinking about it, and I didn't end up doing it, but I was talking to a guy who's a personal trainer at my gym, and I was like, look, there's so many certifications. What do you like? What would you
Right.
recommend? He's like, Nasm, that's the one you want. Like if you're getting anything, don't waste your time on anything else, because that's the one that's the most widely accepted and, you know, the just viewed upon as being the most legitimate certification there is. So
Well, I think the nutrition part of it was very information packed, you know.
mm-hmm.
I studied it very hard for a long time before taking the test for it. And I'm old school. I make flashcards and all that stuff, like handwritten, because when I write it out, then I remember it. But I am a planner. So it was but the main takeaways were learning about how your metabolism works.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like was the most important part of that program for me, and how it works for different people. Obviously you're not going to remember every detail from it, but and then just how to calculate people's macros, like the right formulas, because I start from a calculator and scratch. Mm-hmm. For my clients, and I really individualize. Like no one gets just the same. I don't just pull up a plan and hand it to them. It's all, I have an interview with them and then really calculate out what will actually work for them.
So no cookie cutter type of approaches.
No, because those don't work.
Yeah. So how do you start with like a basic and then you adjust it as you go along, or like how do you from the get-go you start like taking in detail?
I have a calculation that's the real specific calculation that I learned from the Nasm program. Mm-hmm. And I start with that. And it's basic questions like your weight, your height, your age, activity level. I ask about if there's medical concerns. I ask about if you have food restrictions, foods that you hate. I go over kind of my meal plans, and meal guides have really whole kind of clean foods. But I give a preferred list of options so you can make what you want to make. It's really more in the portion and the amounts mm-hmm. and the timing it out than, saying you have to eat the same thing every day.
Okay.
Because that's not realistic for people.
Right. No, it is. And most people can't do that. I'm blessed with being able to eat the same thing all the time. I don't get bored, but like majority,
makes it easier, right?
Yeah, but majority of people won't be able to do that. And even for me, it's to a certain point. Like, I mean, I can do it longer than most, but eventually
you still want to go to dinner
something. Yeah.
And like here and there. And, I love a glass of wine, so even better once you really understand your macros and your calorie intake and what it should be, and you're more used to what's in each meal, then you can swap things out and it's much easier.
Gotcha. So if you're if you want like a glass of wine, then you take something away, like
then you might skip your carbs from one meal.
Right. Exactly. So that'll be your carbs. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not even to say, like you can have an extra glass of wine here and there if you're following your plan most of the time. I'm really big on the 80-20 rule.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. But as far as like meal planning, for people, once I figure out the right range of calories, because it also depends what your goal is. You might be trying to build muscle. Mm-hmm. You might want to maintain the same amount, and you might want to be wanting to lose fat. So there's like a right range. You don't want to have too few calories or too much, right?
Right.
And then I usually will go from there to figuring out what's the right amount of protein, and then spending the rest of their calorie budget, so to say, on their carbs and their fats, and kind of subtracting from there. And I talk about with my clients, like, what time do you go to work? What time do you eat before work? Do you work at night? Do you work in the day? Mm-hmm. When's your last meal? Like, do you do protein shakes, or do you prefer real meals? So all of those things are really important, because they're not going to follow it if it's not going to actually fit into their schedule. So I like to do like a phone call or a Zoom call to set things up. I think it's really worth it. So if someone's just saying, hey, fill out this questionnaire, and then you get your plan in 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, there's like websites that do that, you don't need even a person if you're going to go that route, which is like not even worth anything. Honestly, I wouldn't even waste.
And anyone can make you a meal plan, and, you can do your own stuff and it'll work and you'll be successful. But I think the whole idea of having like a sense of community and people working together, like this, I'm running a challenge right now. We have a really nice Facebook page, and everybody is sharing recipes from my recipe book and sending pictures in and sharing ideas. And I think that makes someone so much more successful. They're sharing, hey, I've lost 5 pounds in this first week. Hey, this. And I have an app that I use, and they can see videos of every exercise, because people they don't want to, in this day and age, we're not trying to stop and look up they don't know what it is. If you're just starting out, that's too intimidating.
Right.
And it's too foreign and it's too abstract. I'm really big on giving specific details.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I start using apps like to a certain point when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna eat right. So I start using apps to look up like, how many calories this has, how many calories
Too hard,
that has.
right?
Eventually, it's not even that it's hard. It's monotonous. It's
right.
like it's like every time I eat, I got to pull up my phone, go through all this whole process. I'm already on my phone a lot as it is. It's like I'm just like, I'll just eyeball it. That's
right.
That's what it comes down to.
But that's why people use me, because I calculate it all for them. So I tell them all, like, have this many ounces here, and you pick what you want to make.
Right. It takes
they don't have to add it up.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off of you, kind of puts it on your coach. That's what you're there for,
Yeah. One of my girls in my challenge, who's a really good friend of mine, she goes, whatever diet, I just don't want to be calculating all of that stuff. Like,
yeah.
Your moms, we're busy. I don't have time. I have no time.
Right.
And I've started competing, so I'm working out a ton of hours a day.
So I actually wanted to get into that, but before I do, I wanted to talk to you. You mentioned a recipe book. Is this like a book that you like is published, or is this like notes that you have?
This is an ebook.
Okay.
That I have. So it's actually a free download. If anyone goes to my website at everything's Jamie O'Shea Fitness,
awesome.
JamieO'SheaFitness.com. I have two free downloads. And if you enter your email, then you'll get signed up for my newsletter that goes out every week. I have a bunch of great topics, and I have a recipe from that book that goes out every Wednesday. And then I also have a growth mindset wellness Wednesday. I'm sorry, recipes on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Growth mindset on Wednesdays, and I give a different tip every Wednesday of how to reflect on what you need to work on, how to view challenges as a learning experience, how to visualize your goals, all things like that. So all of that is on my website as a blog, and then you can download the recipe book. It has 27 macro-friendly recipes, and that's all stuff that I actually make myself. And I post a lot of videos of me making those recipes on my YouTube. So I'm trying to get it all out there and share everything that's just like real life stuff that actually works.
Sure. Well, this is this podcast, is about that. Like, I started this podcast basically to talk to people that are like motivated and interesting and have lives that are others would want to listen to, like and get involved. And
I'm totally honored to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm honored to have you. And so everything that you mentioned, your website, your Facebook, I'm gonna post it below this in your YouTube page and everything, so people will be able to click on that. And
that's awesome.
There. So that'll be great. As far as like your clients, like who do you generally get, like percentage wise? Do you get competitors? Do you get lifestyle mostly?
So it's mostly lifestyle, because I've only done one competition. My second competition was supposed to be in 2 weeks. So yes, I've been dieting for 5 months and doing much cardio. But it's all good because I'm staying focused. I'm adjusting my diet. I'm gonna add a little bit more carbs back. I've been really strict. So I'm gonna adjust things, and it's gonna be looking good for, I'm hoping, like winter will be my next comp. And after that, I'll be ready to take more competitors. I've definitely had competitors, but being that I've only done one comp, most people lifestyle. And I have a bunch of different packages on my website. But my passion is my one-on-one clients.
Sure.
So I work with a lot of like CEOs and business people, and they're looking for just that accountability and partnership and support. I check in with them every day. I'm an open book. My clients can text me or call me anytime. I don't make them set up like on a calendar to talk to me, because
I mean, like just being able to get with you for this podcast was super easy. Like, that was like, you were so fast on responses. You were like, we literally started talking like today, because I saw your messages today. And then by the end of today, like we got this going. So like, if that's a testament to how you work, then I can definitely see that for sure.
Thank you. I'm here to make it happen because it's so easy to put things off, and,
Yeah.
like you can't wait around for stuff. You got to just go with it. And I think it's just about being genuine. So there's not a lot of planning that needs to go into everything.
Yeah.
And like for this challenge that I'm doing, even though they have videos of all the exercises, because that comes from a library that's like a different person doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I try to record those workouts of me doing it, and I include tutorials in my workouts, because I think people really need to hear how to perform the exercise, how their form should be, how their tempo should be. It's so important. Yeah. Because you can see anybody doing a lateral raise like this, but those little nuances of how you're turning your shoulder and using the back of your shoulder and slowing your tempo down and not pulling from your, so I think that's the key for people to be successful, especially now when you don't have maybe as much equipment.
Right. That's kind of like what I ran into, excuse me. What I ran into was that because, my gym at home is not as well developed as like my, the gym that I would go to, like I had to really concentrate, like really keep that mind muscle connection,
right?
Because the weight isn't as heavy. So like sometimes when your weight is heavier, it forces you to have that connection because you're forcing the weight up. But if you're not, you kind of have to develop that, like
you have to compensate, and we have less variety at home. So I think we need to start introducing different exercises, because I'm a gym girl, and I like to lift heavy, and I like to do a lot of circuits and stuff, but I'm not the girl that's doing like the ab plank workouts on the mat and like the function, and so I've started to do more of that. It's super hard.
Yeah. Oh, those planks and stuff. Yeah. Well,
yeah, all the body weight stuff. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it's interesting, like how the body gets used to things that you do. So like it'll be something that you think is like, oh well, what I'm doing is so much more difficult than this other thing, but then you try this other thing and it's so difficult for you because it's just like your body it's hard to do that. Like I'll take like an example illustrated on like cardio. Like sometimes like you can run and you're great at running, but then like you start biking and all of a sudden like you can't catch your breath. It's like your body's used to a certain pace, certain like way of doing things, and when you change it up, it throws it off balance a little bit. So
yeah, definitely. And then the way I like to structure my workouts for right now with these home workouts is I'm adding and I do this with my own training a lot, is all about supersets and drop sets.
Yeah.
All the time.
I mean, I love supersets and drop sets. Actually, my wife got me into it. I used to never do supersets, and then
you do 4 sets of 10.
Yeah, and she, that was usually my thing. Yeah, maybe even 3 sets.
Workout.
Yeah, so, but yeah, she got me into it, and I was like, now I love it. Now I feel like I'm wasting time if I just do like one exercise and wait, and then do it. I'm like, I should be doing something in the middle.
I think there's a time and place for that.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's that long-term planning.
Yeah.
Where that comes in. So you want to have your chunk of like a couple of months where you're doing much more conditioning and high reps, and then more strength training when you're eating. So I always try to match my clients' diet to their workouts.
Yeah.
So if you're doing strength training, then you're going to need more food, more carbs, right?
Sure. No,
put that to good use. But yeah, I did a shoulder workout today, and I did another one the other day. The other one I did was 600 reps, and I did 10 exercises and 3 drop sets for each one. So each set's of 20. So I would do 20 drop reps in a row, and I almost died.
I would have died at 50. Like
it was awesome. So I've been doing really high volume training. When I started working with my coach, he opened my eyes, and like he makes me cry tears, but it's so great. And that's get real growth like that. I've seen so much development in my quads and my shoulders because I want to do figure. So I need more upper body strength. And I also want to do wellness. I'm obsessed with wellness.
So yeah, let's get into that. So you want to do figure, right? That's what you said.
Yes. And I did a very small show and I did figure. It was
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. I figure was one of my favorite divisions now. But then you mentioned wellness. Actually, now that wellness is around, I'm like, that might be my favorite division, just because, I love the fact that they have like very like strong legs and all that, and then but they
It's how
still
I'm
have.
built.
Yeah, well, that's how a lot. See, that's the interesting thing. That's how a lot of women are, built because of, the estrogen puts that kind of physique on you. So it's rare to find women with very like small hips and things of that. I mean, it happens obviously. Like there are women that are like that, but for majority, it's like the ones that I've seen usually have like fuller hips, fuller legs. What
But how
we
much of that is body fat and how much of that is muscle is the
see, that's a
question.
good question. Yeah. Now
I
the
think
girl.
often that's body fat.
Right. Now the girls that I see like competing in wellness at the highest level, that's all muscle. They're,
It's brand new.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
didn't go very long, did it?
Oh, well, what do you mean wellness?
Here in this country. Here in this country. Like
Yeah. Yeah. No, they didn't. Yeah.
it didn't
It
last too
didn't.
long.
So maybe you're talking about something that I'm unaware of. Well, you
No,
say it didn't last too long.
I'm talking about the wellness division because it just came out this year here in this country. Like they just started
Yeah. Yeah.
having,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was no
So,
wellness. They've had it in other countries though.
right. So like you have like the Hispanic countries, they've had it, even some
Right.
European countries they've
Like
had.
what about Australia?
Not sure. Not sure.
I think they may have it.
I know
But
Brazil is very famous
right,
for it.
right. And those ladies
So
are built that way.
yeah, yeah. But hey,
Bless
I
their
mean,
hearts.
it is what it is. Everybody's got genetic strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I've always carried basically all of my body fat in my lower body.
Hmm.
But when I was young, I was told don't train your legs heavy because you'll just make your legs bigger. So for the longest time, I was train legs so light. I didn't even mess with a bar for so
Yeah.
many years. And it's such a mistake. And then
Yeah.
one day I said, forget it. I'm just going to train hard. I'm just going to not worry about the size of my legs. Doesn't matter. So then I started actually learning about squats and deadlifts and like real
Right.
weightlifting.
Right.
So that was like the first game changer. But then I realized a lot of my, everyone says you have a great butt, but I realized it's a lot of it's fat. So I've been really working super hard the past 3 or 4 years just to replace that fat with muscle, and it's a process. So now I have a
Yeah.
lot of good muscle in my lower body, but now it's that leaning out, of the hamstrings and glutes. It's so hard.
Right, right. No, I understand. And see, it's different with men because there's never a situation where like a man being fat looks good, but it is that way with women. Like so, like
You want those curves.
right, right. So it's like, so just because a woman has some fat on her doesn't mean she looks bad. Sometimes that's actually like attractive from an attractive standpoint. Like
It
that's a
depends if we're
positive.
talking about stage lean or regular life.
Right, exactly.
That's it.
But if you're talking about like competitively, then that's a whole different ball game. Then we're not talking about whether you're attractive. We're talking about like a sport that that you're trying to like slice into that division and into
That's what I'm
that.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a totally different like way of thinking, like so. And sometimes people that don't compete are not into fitness, are not into bodybuilding. They have a hard time making that switch. It's like the girl might be like pretty, but she doesn't qualify for that division. You know what I'm saying? Or like for
Right.
that, look. So
Yes, and I tell my clients that like don't focus on what I'm doing because my goals are different than what we're doing with you.
right, right.
So
Yeah, cool. So so at this point now you got a show that now is not happening. So like when did you say, I think you mentioned it, but I might be mistaken. When did you say you're planning on competing now at this
whenever
point?
a show comes, I will be there. But at this point, I think it will be at the phase 4 when they open like everything,
Mm-hmm.
because my 6-year-old daughter also competes for dance and it's incredibly similar. And so all of her stuff has been all like up in the air too.
Sure.
And, all of that's going to be canceled. They kept saying, oh, we're going to do it. And they're not going to have a room of 1,000 people anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am thinking it'll be maybe towards Christmas time, January. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm going to continue working on leaning out, but I'm not, I mean, I've been doing like 2 ounces of carbs, servings of carbs. Like I am on a strict meal plan. I'm
A,
eating the same
two
thing
ounces a day
no, I would have
or two
two
ounces a meal?
ounces per meal, maybe. And then I was carb cycling. So I would get 3 of those one day, two one the next day, one the next day, zero. So that's
I
pretty
got you.
low.
That's very low. Yeah,
And
that's
I
very
work out
low.
close to like 4 hours a day, I would say.
4 hours a day. What do you do?
Because I do cardio in the morning. And then I usually record some workouts.
Oh, so it's part of
And
your
then I
like
do my
business.
actual workout
Yeah.
because I am about intensity. You can't be stopping and starting and
Yeah.
stopping and starting. So it's, and then I do cardio in the evening. So now I'm going to be cutting that back.
Yeah, it sounds like you're probably just gonna kind of maintain a little bit until you get closer, then you're gonna turn it up, right?
Yeah. And I want to continue working on leaning out though, because I do have a ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think, it's tough. Like
Yeah, yeah.
tough. So
See, I'm kind of like in that body type where I gain muscle very fast, but leaning out is very difficult, like for me.
me
So
too.
yeah, it's I'm one of those body types, and sometimes I look at people that are opposite, and I'm like, man, it's like I just get upset in my mind. But
Well, I definitely have that body where I never lose a pound,
yeah,
even in prep. I don't lose a pound, but my body changes,
yeah,
but I don't lose a pound.
we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat. Like I'll
You know what?
see.
It doesn't matter though.
Yeah,
It's fine. Like you don't have to lose a pound. You can just gain all the muscle.
sure, sure. Yeah. Well, I started to have to think about it differently because it's like I couldn't like I didn't see the scale go down, but I noticed I started looking better. When I'm like, well,
Right.
something is happening. Obviously, something is happening because it's not in my in my mind. So so yeah. But
Always
anyway,
go by photos.
sure, sure. A lot of people say that like weight's not really indicative of
Of
success.
body composition is crazy.
Yeah,
And it messes, especially for women, it messes with us.
yeah, yeah,
People
for
are
sure.
constantly like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. I mean, and I think the more body fat you have, the more you can say that and do that.
Right.
But if it's not like an extreme overweight situation, then I would not even worry about that.
Sure. I mean, obviously, if you're like 300 pounds overweight, I mean, that's then yeah, you definitely probably need to do something there. But
Then you're going to have number of pounds come off, and they will.
right,
Crazy.
right.
Other people in my challenge are losing all kinds of weight.
Yeah. So you're motivating them to lose weight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yes, definitely. I think it's just about starting with one good habit. Every day I'm going to eat this, I'm going to have a good breakfast, or I'm going to get up, or I'm going to go to sleep by this time.
Sure.
And then over time, adding one more. So I think people jump into things, they get hot on it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, all right, I'm going to do this. And that's great. But if you just dive in like that, all crazy, then you might fizzle out. So we have to
Yeah.
be thinking of the long game,
Sure. Like more of a lifestyle adjustment.
more of a lifestyle, 80-20, still enjoy. And also just that mindset of letting go, like stop trying to comfort yourself with food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to fulfill something or fix something or have a cure for your boredom
I
with
think a
food.
lot of that. I think there's a lot of that, right? There's probably a ton of that.
Or
But
you're irritated, so you're eating, or you're in a bad
yeah,
mood, or you're tired, or then you start drinking and then you start eating.
yeah. Ching, like that's me right there.
It's all of us. And then you stay up late, it's all bad. We're all gremlins.
Yeah, for sure.
Go to bed.
You probably aren't aware of the show. I don't know, Battlestar Galactica. It's an old
Oh,
show.
I am.
Okay,
My
so I was
husband loves his sci-fi.
awesome. So I was watching that last night, like staying up super late. I have to get up for work at like 4 something in the morning, and I'm like up late. I'm like, what am I doing? I got to get to bed. It just gets me. So let me ask you this
It's the
question.
best of you. Mm-hmm.
You ever have anybody that eats at night, like has a tendency to eat at night, get up did you ever coach anybody that has that issue?
All the time. I have that issue.
That's me. Yesterday I
You
was
mean like out of your sleep?
like, yeah, like I'll get up
Middle of the night?
yeah, in the middle of the night, I'll go like to the fridge and I'll be like, man, I just want to eat something. So usually it's peanut butter.
Okay, so when that has happened to me, that means I am under eating during the day for sure.
Yeah. So my wife was saying that. I was like, she's like, you sure you eat enough calories? Because you seem like you're not eating much. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm okay. And
Enough protein during the day, also maybe a little bit more carbs earlier in the day and then lessen it at night. And then I would also tell you to take a fiber supplement with some water and put some apple cider vinegar in there, chug it down. That's going to taste like a kombucha.
Oh, I love
while
kombucha.
It's good, right? Because
Yeah.
that apple cider vinegar is a little bit rough, but I have this, it's called Fiberlize. I can show it to you. And it's mango, and when I mix it, it's pretty good. But you got to drink it quick.
Is it by Species Nutrition?
Probably.
So yeah, Fiberlize. Yeah. So
Fiberlize.
I'm actually friends with the guy that owns that company. Yeah.
You can tell him I did him a favor because I recommend this to all of my clients.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely let him know. Yeah.
I'm to sponsor me.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll tag you. I'll tag you, man.
It's super good. And I mix it together and I drink it down. And when I take it at night, I notice it right away, and it lowers your blood sugar and it maintains it while you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And it flushes the toxins out and all of this. And it helps with bloating too.
Yeah. Fiber is an amazing thing. He always rants and raves about it. And I actually do use it. Probably not.
Start with half a scoop, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it's not, too much fiber might be a problem too. So
half a scoop.
Awesome. So, they're announcing, supposedly they're going to announce something about the Olympia on Monday. So like, I'm personally think that they're going to be moving it. They're probably going to move it to December. That's probably.
See, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah. I just don't think it's going to happen during the time that, because you're dealing with like a lot of stuff. You're dealing with a business, not just competition. Sometimes we as spectators just look at it as a competition, but it's like there's also sponsors that are involved, like there's money being exchanged hands. I
did a very small competition. I spent $2,000.
I mean, that's a lot of money, but it doesn't surprise me because bodybuilding is an expensive sport. It's like one of the most expensive sports. Yeah, so you gotta love it. Which
you have to wake up thinking about it, and I do. I wake up and I think about it first thing, and it's the last thing I think about when I go to sleep every day.
Have to. It has to consume you basically until that competition is over. So
yeah, I mean, anyone can enter a competition. Your mom can enter a competition. Anyone can enter a competition, but if you're serious about it and you want to be competitive in it, then that's a complete different thing.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I mean, like just entering a competition is nonsense because it's like, what's the point? The competition isn't the sport. The competition is you showing off what you did. So if you're not doing anything, you're just entering a competition. I mean, that's just such a waste of time.
I think a lot of people work hard, but it's so individualized, like where you're starting from. And we've all seen those competitors that are so flat looking, or just not ready, and scary. It's a scary. It can be a scary thing.
You're like, bro, you're like 5 weeks out. You're like, so, but yeah,
it's up quick though.
it does, and I think that you have to kind of know when if you're not ready, it might be best to go for a different show a little later. Sometimes you have your sights set on something, but it takes maturity to say, okay, well, but I'm not ready. Like I know. Well,
that's that growth mindset thing too. Like you have to be real with yourself and look at what areas you need to work on, and have you really tried your best? And you have to treat your first week of prep like it's your last week of prep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no,
you can't like ease into it and go, okay, the last 4 weeks, I'm going to push it. Yeah. Starve to death the last 4 weeks.
Well, and then it never works out, right? So like you can't make up 12 weeks in 4 weeks. Even
you make yourself super sick though.
Right. Yeah. And Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I've seen that happen plenty of
You
times.
honestly have to just be there's a level of suffering that you have to endure the whole time. And if you don't, you cannot make up for it.
Yeah, yeah. It's you have to kind of love to suffer, so to speak, a little bit. Like you kind of have to like enjoy that process, and it takes time
And
sometimes.
that's why I don't think people should do like 4 shows in a row,
Just to
even
keep,
though,
yeah,
because they've already leaned out so much, they want to get in as many as they can.
right, right.
But it's
I mean,
pretty unhealthy.
yeah, I mean, if you're there back to back to back, and it's not,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
a, it's not a lot of time yeah. But if you have to maintain that lean state for that long, for an extended period of time, that's tough. That's tough.
So, for example, I started prep November 1st. My show was February 1st. I was going to take 2 weeks, like relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
and then be back on for another 3 months, for another 12 weeks. And then my show would have been in 2 weeks. So,
Yeah,
as that show's not happening, I realize the longer I keep trying to stay in prep, my body's not going to keep responding as well.
sure. No, that
And if
makes,
there's not going to be any show,
right.
we need to be focusing on like gaining muscle right now too, I feel like. So
Yeah, it's a totally different time right now. It's like it's completely like wacko. Like you don't know when stuff is happening, and because prep is such a long process, it's like it's very difficult to get yourself right, for a show that might not even happen. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot right now. So,
but I think it will show who's really dedicated to it,
mm-hmm.
Like who just falls off the face of the planet with stuff, and who is using this time. Like I have a lot of ups and downs. I write about it a lot, like where my feelings or my motivation has been up and down. I'm finally feeling better now, but I've had a lot of up and downs. But as much as I can, I try to take advantage of this time because I'm usually never home, and so I'm trying to make as much content as I can and just like share with people what I know and what I have to say,
Sure.
because I think it can help,
Yeah. Yeah. How important is mental health, you think, to this whole
100%
process?
well, like I said, my degree is in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So mental health is huge. It's everything. The way you're feeling dictates your whole day. Like your thoughts in the first, I wrote recently about if you have negative self-talk in the first 5 minutes you're awake, that can dictate the entire rest of your day.
Yeah.
And think about if you have a fight, because we're all just trapped in the house with each other. I have 5 people in this house.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, and my daughters are all 2 years apart, so it's like pretty close. They fight,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all getting to their wits' end. And just think about the way you feel when you have that like bad interaction with somebody. It like causes you a physical reaction.
Sure.
I might skip my whole workout.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because that you mentioned that sometimes like people think in the movies, it's often like portrayed like when you're angry and something like you can work out better.
Turn into Rocky.
Yeah. Yeah. For me personally, and I can only speak for myself, but like when I have like let's say me and my wife had an argument, just for example, it's hard for me to work out because it's like I'm thinking about that. It's like I'm not in a like a positive mindset, so it's hard for me to lift and
Lose your motivation.
right, exactly.
And your
So,
energy. It's because it's sucking your
right,
energy out.
all your mental faculties are not not on training but on that, so it's definitely mental. Mental is like 100%, and then of course like physical is 100%, so everything's got to be firing.
For me, if I'm not feeling good in my head, I'm late. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And something about, because a lot of times in the morning I will be on my bed and I'm doing something on the computer like very early. I get up early, like 4 or 5 still,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm not going anywhere. And it's like it works because like we talked about the night thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I go to bed at like 8. It's ridiculous. So early.
Oh yeah, no, that's very early. You
So
go to bed
early.
very early.
very early because I need my beauty sleep.
Right. Well, I mean, but if you're getting up at 4, that's appropriately, like, you're going to bed appropriate time. Yeah. For me, like I was telling you, I'm like going to bed at like 12 or 1, waking up at 4. That's no good. That is no good.
If I did that, I would be such a monster.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially like, yeah, you have all those people in the house, then you have to,
Oh, they
like,
need me.
yeah, you
It's
can't be
like
a
half
monster.
my day is just feeding these kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're at that age. But be glad you don't have boys. If you have boys, man, they eat everything. Like, they'll eat
These
you.
guys, I don't know. But a testament to how much I'm working is that my 4-year-old walked into the kitchen and made herself a peanut butter and jelly, top to bottom, without saying a word to me.
So she knows. She knows
Like,
mom's.
got everything out and made it. And I was like, wow,
Look at
you can
that.
do that? You are independent.
Yeah, that's it. You're ready to move out. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I try to train my kids to do all the stuff I do, and I try to let them see how hard I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
My 9-year-old wants to be a YouTuber
Hey.
as like her dream job. And I remember my husband, he goes, do you see mommy? He goes, she works online. Do you see her taking it easy? He goes, she's working 12 hours a day.
Yeah. That's it.
You know?
Yeah, it's I think like the internet has provided a way for people to make money and have businesses, and social media has provided that. But I do think, like, just like being an entrepreneur anywhere else, you have to kind of be able to support yourself while you're doing that. And then when that other thing gets to a point where that's all you're going to do, then, that's fine. Then you make that transition. But
That's, you know what? That's what I'm doing right now. It's funny you say
yeah,
that
yeah,
because, I've been very lucky that my husband has supported me in all of my dreams and all of my fitness dreams. So, because I've been teaching and running this business and expanding this business over the past few years. So I'm working 7 days a week. I'm working before teaching, I'm working at night, and I'm also working out and all of these things. So he's supported me through that, and he's paid, I pay for marketing. I have somebody that helps me with my social media. I
sure.
pay for promotions. I paid to have my website made and all of these, like I've invested a lot of money. I have lighting stuff at my house, which
Yeah.
is so coming in handy right now.
There you go. Yeah, lighting is great. Yeah, it's awesome.
I have like the umbrella things,
Nice.
and not so silly now, is it? And he has, and so now I just told my class today and my coworkers that I'm not going back next year, and I'm doing my coaching full time.
Oh, wow. So you're at that level now.
Yes, and it's partially because of what I've made happen just even recently, because now I have the app going and I've been running these challenges, and it's just like word of mouth and just creating more content. So things have picked up so much, and I feel good with it because I'm still helping people just in a different way.
Sure. Oh, no. I mean, I think you're really definitely helping people. There's no question about that.
So I'm so excited because I just haven't had the time, like the real time I've needed to do all these things. So now I have that time. So I'm really trying to make the best of it and like just do this with people.
Yeah.
And, you can't wait until everything's going to be perfect. Waiting for things to be perfect is one of the big things I talk about. Like, that is your downfall.
Yeah.
You have to
you're right.
Jump in, give it a start every day, give it another start.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with people that are going to be on that same page as you, and cut the toxicity out and, take that step for yourself, because you can't force somebody to do their meal plan or work. Like, you can't drag somebody along. They have to want to take themselves there.
Sure.
I can only provide the tools and the support and the organization.
Right.
But
yeah,
they have to want to do it. So
right. You can lead them.
I'm really excited.
Yeah. Yeah. You can lead them to the water. You can't make them drink. Right. That's that saying. So yeah.
I can say, send me a picture of you drinking the water. I do that.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm glad. I'm like happy for you that you reached this level. It's kind of interesting. Like, by no means am I anywhere, at your level with this podcast. But when I first started, it was like, oh, it was just something to do. Like, it was kind of fun. And then I had to, like kind of like just kind of maneuver things and whatnot. Now I have like people contacting me for like to come on the, and it's like, it's crazy how fast it has progressed in just, you know, a few months. And just as a essentially a hobby. Like it is a work, but I enjoy it, you know, so essentially it's a hobby. And
that's how it starts. And
yeah,
congratulations. And you deserve that,
I
because it's
appreciate it.
a
Thank you so much.
podcast, and I followed on Spotify.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. So, I mean, is there anything else that you want to plug in? And if you already plugged some stuff, but go ahead and replug that. We're about to end this podcast. How
Just
can people?
anyone who sees this or hears this and wants to know more or is interested, find me on Facebook and on Instagram, on TikTok and on YouTube, all at Jamie O'Shea Fitness, Jaime, like Jaime, O'Shea, Oshea Fitness. And check out my website, jamieo'sheafitness.com, and please subscribe to my YouTube and sign up for my newsletter. And I'm going to be having a lot of good content and things coming your way, so check it out. Get in touch. Let's connect.
Awesome.
Also, LinkedIn is a great resource if anyone's not on there.
Awesome. And like I said, everything will be tagged, so guys, you can go ahead and click on that as well.
Well,
Again,
thank you so much. You are amazing.
Thank you. And I'll leave you to your 3 children. And
I think it's time for me to eat some more.
Gotcha. All right. You take care. Have a great day.
Have a wonderful night.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.